So I thought I'd show my grain delay effect rack that I've made. I'm using it to make the percussion pluck that I've made in Operator a little bit more interesting. I've got a little minimal house loop going here. I'll let you listen to that quickly. And with the pluck. So at the moment the pluck is really just a sine wave. You could use any synth for this, and you could use any sample if you want to use a sample instead. That's great. But what I want to do is show you this little thing. This is great. Grain delay is probably my favorite delay plugin for sound design. I've got two LFOs just modulating some parameters here. You can really just explore this a bit, choose which settings you want to change. It's really up to you. There's so much you can do with this. But this is what it sounds like with my grain delay plugin on there. Yeah, it's really nice and wide. And that on its own, I mean, is a great pluck and a great sound to use in a track, but I think we can make it better with a bit of resampling. Resampling is a great way to just add layers to sounds and just get creative with sound design and effects and all that stuff. So let's just create an audio track. Oops, that's the wrong one. We want the Perc pluck. So now we can record our Perc pluck sound directly into this audio channel while this is all playing, and it will just record this pluck sound. Now you'll notice when you're using grain delay, it shifts your audio a little bit. So we don't really want that, because I do like the original rhythm and timing that I've used here, so I'm just going to correct for that. And now I've got a second layer of audio, and it's the same as this. I want to pitch this a bit. I want to take it an octave down and add some effects and see what happens. This is really just a lot of experimenting and trial and error. I think it's a nice workflow, especially for minimal house, where you really want to get creative anyway. So let's put an amp on here. Ableton has got a great amp, which I really love to use for all sorts of things. I like the sort of fuzzy top end that this boost setting gives, so I'm going to use that. Let's try and take it down an octave. Okay, now it's getting a bit annoying. Let's change that setting again. Be careful with this heavy setting, it gets really loud, and so does the lead. I prefer the bass with the blues settings. Clean is also sometimes nice. But I think we're going to use the boost for now. So let's get a chorus going. But before that, we just want to make the sound a little bit more monophonic, because it is quite wide for a bottom layer. That's quite nice already. Let's double that up and make a higher layer. that's nice and wide. Let's put a reverb on there just to make it a little bit fuller and give it a bit some atmosphere. Did there is I used this single arrow, and this is cutting down, it's saving the transients and cutting everything, the decay, so it's kind of creating a little bit more of a plucky sound than we had already. Sort of textural, grainy sub-layer for what's going on in the rest of the track. And I think even keeping this first original sound clean without our effect rack is going to balance out the rest of the layers, because we've got 2 layers with this grain delay resampled effect, and then we've got one nice and clean. So our main plug is kind of taking the lead, and these layers are acting as a sort of layer just behind it. And just as a final layer, I think we can add a bass layer as well. We've got a mid, we've got a sort of standard, we've got a we just need a nice sort of low end, and I like to use drum bass for that. I'll show you that now. Let's make this our low layer. We can pitch this down an octave. There we go. So drum bass is going to really fatten this up a bit. You can put an amp on there to give us some distortion. That's got a nice punch to it now. So I'm going to freeze and flatten this and just adjust that little offset that we have from the delay. And you can see you might have to just come in here and individually edit each pluck. I do quite like this sort of delayed cascading sound of the second layer. I mean, you can do whatever you want to go wild with this. You could even reverse this, make all sorts of cool stuff with it. description.